What's going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music. I am back with another recent record pickups video. Whole lot of gems this time around. I was digging around on Disc Union's website and I found some records that I'd been looking for a while, and I figured I might as well fill out an order for a bunch of other things that I was curious about, and thusly I came away with some really cool gems that I think are worth talking about and sharing. So with that little introduction out of the way, yeah, let's talk about these guys. First off, new record from Tall Black Guy. I think this is the first new one that I picked up in 2020. This is Tall Black Guy, We Rolling For You, a tribute to the late DJ Devastate, who passed away in 2018. And what can I say about this? I mean, Tall Black Guy, once again, top form, amazing sample chopping, amazing layered drums. This is more of a roller than it is a stomper from him, and it is, once again, just another Tall Black Guy sure shot. It should be said that the Max I Million and Ion Czar remix on the flip is a nice stomper of a beat too, but really the main draw is the Tall Black Guy production, which is definitely worth the price of entry. So if you run across this record, definitely make sure you pick this guy up. We got a kind of a random record. Now, I am a huge fan of this house producer right here, Fitz Wentic. I think that's how you say his name. And while digging around on Disc Union, I discovered this old record from him. It's a one-sider. There's actually nothing on the flip. And 2 is a very limited release record. But number 3, it was going for an outrageously cheap price of about $4. It's really rare that you find a record that fairly recent and in good condition to be so cheap in Japan. So I'm not entirely sure why it was so discounted. Maybe it was kind of a dead stock sort of issue. But regardless, the track we got here is Frogs, Toads, and Newts, released on Wolf Recordings. And honestly, it's just the exact kind of deep house that I dig. And it's kind of hard to put into words, so I'm just gonna play it for you and let it speak for itself. Next up, this was a record actually I wanted to pick up when I did my DJ Food order last month, and as I was going back through Disc Union, I realized I didn't get DJ Food Jazz Breaks Volume 3. And basically, just like Volumes 2 and Volumes 4, this is more like early 90s breakbeat, heavy instrumental hip-hop. Very much in the same sort of vein as DJ Shadow and Cold Cut. Really, really cool stuff. Few more up-tempo tracks on here than I would really like. I don't really have much interest in playing 120 BPM breakbeats, but some of the slower stuff on here is really, really cool, and since it was such a cheap record, I couldn't help but not add it to my collection. Unfortunately, like I said in my previous video, which you can always check out over here, because of Ninja Tune's copyright, I cannot actually share anything from this record. But yeah, just take my word for it. If you're a fan of really early Ninja Tune, trip hop, breakbeat heavy stuff, especially if you're a fan of introducing and always wanted to hear more stuff in that sort of vein, you definitely can't go wrong with this guy. All right, next up, we have one of the few 2020 records that I bought recently, and that is The Colors That Rise, Grey Doubt. I picked this up because I saw Yusef Daves' name on it, and I thought it was a project from him. Turns out he is just a player on here. Monsieur Brown also shows up on here, but apparently they are a multi-instrumental production duo based out of the UK that basically flirts around with with every single genre that you can imagine. Little bits of jazz, little bits of soul, funk, hip-hop, house music, it's all in here. And from what I've heard, this might be one of the most varied records that I've heard this year. Definitely looking forward to diving into this guy a little bit deeper, but my initial impressions of this record are really, really good. So let's check out that track with Yusef Davies, which is called Home Time. All right, let's give this a listen. This really, really cool. It seems like there's less focus on being really technically proficient and showing off skills and more about creating a groove and an atmosphere. In a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of last year's SA3 record, or S3A record, and that is definitely a positive association. The fact that it was also a Rhythm Section International release kind of sold me on this because I am strangely biased towards that label for whatever reason. I'm looking forward to listening to it a little bit more in depth and sharing my thoughts and opinions of it at a later date, but even from the little bits and pieces that I've heard of it, this record's really promising, and the Colors That Rise, Gray Doubt is definitely a record you might want to give a listen to. Alright, the last two records are actually the two records that inspired me to do this record order, because they are two records that I thought I would never be able to find. I am a huge fan of melting pot music, and now that I think about it, actually a very good idea for a record, for a video down the line. But anyways, I found these two guys right here. Both of these records were albums that I thought I would absolutely never find. These are super early melting pot music releases called Hi-Hat Club, which they would get a producer and basically let them do whatever they wanted and sample whatever they wanted and make a B-tape out of it. The results are Volume 2, Suff Daddy, and Volume 3, Dexter, the Jazz Files, and both of these are exactly the kind of melting pot music records that they don't make anymore. Melting pot music, for whatever reason, seems like they've gone into more chill hop, laid back, beats to study to sort of territory, which I'm kind of okay with, but a good majority of the output that they have right now doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi that these records have. Early Suff Daddy and early Dexter records just have a certain hit and a certain weight and a certain punch to them that melting pot music records don't have these days. And the only way to really understand that is you have to hear these for yourself. Starting off with the Suff Daddy record, we got Up In This. So steady. Just call me daddy. Turn it up. Dexter, we've got The Future, the very opening track from the first side of the record. Are way more sample heavy than their more recent material, and I've really been looking for more records in this vein for the longest time. So the fact I was able to stumble across them on Disc Union really made me want to make sure that I picked them up before nobody else did, and I am so glad that I added these to the collection. But anyways, if you ever run across any of these old Melting Pot Hi-Hat Club records, which I think there are 10 volumes of, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. Definitely pick all of them up because they're all really, really good and some of the best instrumental hip-hop that the label has to offer. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks, as always, for watching. If you've listened to any of these records, let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. If you want to hear any of these records for yourself, please head over to my WordPress or Stimmick blog, because that's where I will be posting audio links to any of the records that I talk about on this channel. As always, also, please head over to my Mixcloud. There you can check out Raw Select Radio, the audio component of this YouTube channel, and definitely be on the lookout for more live streams. I'm streaming over on Facebook, usually every Sunday, and I will start trying to find time to also live stream here, and maybe from time to time over on my Instagram. I will try to keep you updated as much as possible to when any of that is going on. Links to everything, as always, down in the description. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!